This video is going to show you how to plot a complex number. Complex numbers are plotted on the complex plane. The complex plane looks a lot like the Cartesian coordinate plane or a rectangular coordinate plane, except instead of an x and a y axis, we have the real axis, which is horizontal, and then the imaginary axis, which is vertical. We're going to plot the real part in the horizontal direction, and we'll plot the imaginary part in the vertical direction. Let's look at an example. Here I'm going to plot 3 plus 4i. Since 3 is my real part, I'm going to go over to 3 on my real or horizontal axis. And then since 4 is my imaginary part, I need to go up 4. Whoops, and my graph isn't big enough, but I would go all the way up here to 4i. And I'd put a dot. Now, to show the difference between rectangular and complex even more, I'm actually going to draw this as something called a vector. This is going to be really useful later in the quarter, but for now, just think it's actually just one number. So it wouldn't really make sense to plot it as a point, which has what we usually think of as two parts. So we're going to use a vector or array to represent the number 3 plus 4i. Let's look at another example. Now I'm going to plot 2 minus i. So again, the 2 is my real, so I know I'm going to be over 1, 2 on my x along this vertical line. And then my imaginary, well, it doesn't have a coefficient, but I really know that's a negative 1i in disguise is my imaginary part. So I'm going to go down 1. So my complex number can be represented with this vector starting at the origin. All right, one more quick example. I've got negative 2 plus 2i. So whoops. So my negative 2 is my real part. So now I'm going to go left 2. And then I've got a positive 2 as my imaginary part. So up 2, my dot there, and my complex number vector. Let's do 2 more examples where we plot things that are missing either the imaginary or the real part. So starting with the red, it says plot 3. Well, 3 is a real number with no imaginary part. So you could kind of think of it as 3 plus 0i. So that's just going to go over 3 on the x and nowhere on the y. So it's going to look like that. Now plot negative 2i. This is now the other case where we have no real part. You could think of this as plus 0 for the real part. So I'm just going to go down 2 and nowhere left and right. So it's going to look like that. To finish your homework, I'd like you to draw a complex plane and then plot these 4 numbers on the complex plane. Good luck.